What keeps us healthy and happy
as we go through life.
as we go through life?
If you were going to
If you were going to
invest
invest
now
now
in your future
in
best
your
self,
future in your future best self,
where would you put your time
where would you put your
and your
time
energy?
and your energy?
There was a recent survey
There was a recent
of
survey
millennials
and
asking
millennials
them
asking
what their
them
most
what their
important life
most important
goals
life
were,
goals were,
and over
and over
80% said that
80%
a
said
major life
that a major
goal for
life
them
goal
was
for
to get
them was to get
rich.
rich.
And another
And as another
50% of those
50%
same young
of
adults
those
said that
same large adults said that
another major
another
life
major
goal
life goal
was to become famous.
was become famous.
And we're
And
constantly
we're constantly
told to
told to
lean into
lean
work,
into work,
to
to push
push
harder
and achieve more.
and achieve more.
We're given the
We're
impression
given the
that
impression
these are the
that
things that
these are
we need to go after
the things that we
in
need
order to
to
have a good life.
in order to have a good life.
Pictures of entire
Pictures, pictures of entire lives,
of the
of
choices that
the choices that
people
people
make and
make
how those
and
choices
how
work out
those choices work
for them.
out for them.
Those pictures are
Those
almost
picture are
impossible to
most
get.
impossible to be get.
Most of what we know
Most of what we know about
about
human
human life,
life,
we know from
we
asking
know from asking
people
people
to remember
to
the
remember
past.
the past.
And as we know,
And as we know,
hindsight is
hindsight
anything
and
but
is anything
2020.
but 2020.
We forget vast amounts
We forget vast
of what
amount
happens to
of what
us in
happens
life,
to us in life,
and sometimes
and
memory is
sometimes memory
downright creative.
is downright creative.
But
But
what if we could
what if we
watch
could watch
entire
entire
lives
lives
as they
as
unfold
they unfold
through time?
through time?
What if we could study
What if we could study people
from the
from
time
the
that they were
time that
teenagers
they
all the way
all
into
the way into
old
old
age
age,
to see what
to
really
see what really
keeps people
keeps
happy and
people
healthy?
happy and healthy?
We did that.
We did that.
The Harvard
The
study
Harvard
of
study
adult
of
development
adult
may be
development may be
the longest
the
study of
longest
adult life
study of adult life
that's ever been
that's
done.
ever been done.
For
For
75
75
years, we've
years,
tracked the
we've
lives
tracked
of
the lives of the
724 men,
724 men,
year after year,
year after
asking
year,
about their
asking
work,
about
their
their work,
home lives, their
their, their home lives,
health,
their
and of
health,
course, asking
of, uh, of, and of course asking
along the way
all along the
without
way
knowing how their
without
life's
knowing
were going to
we're
turn out.
going to turn out.
Studies like this
Studies,
are
studies like this are
exceedingly rare.
exceedingly rare.
Almost all projects
Almost all
of this kind fall
project
apart
of this kind fall
within a
apart
decade
within a decade
because too many people
because
drop out of the
too many people
study
drop out of study,
or funding for the
or
research
funding for the
dries
research
up
dries up,
or the researchers get
or the
distracted
researchers get
or they
distracted,
die.
or they die,
Nobody moves the ball
and nobody moves
further
the
down the
ball
field.
further.
But through a
But
combination
through
of luck
combination of luck
and the persistence of
and
several
persistence of
generations of
several generations
researchers,
of
this
researchers,
study has
this
survived.
study survived.
About 60
About
of our
60
original
of our original 70
724 are
724
still
men
alive,
are still alive,
still participating
still participating
in the
in the
study,
study,
most of them in their
most of them
90s.
in their 19s.
And we are now beginning
And we're now
to
beginning
study the
to
more than
study the more than 2000
2,000 children
children of
of these
these
men.
men.
And I'm the fourth
And I am a fourth
director of the
director
study.
of study.
Since
Since
1938, we've
1938,
tracked the lives
we've tracked the
of
lives
two groups of men.
of two groups of men.
The first group
The first group started
started in the study
in
when
the
they were
study when they were
sophomores at Harvard College.
sophomores at Harvard
They
College.
all finished
They
college
all finished
during
college
World War II,
during World War
and then
II,
most went
and the
to
most
serve in
went
Europe.
off to serve in the war. And the second group that we followed was a group of a boy from Boston neighborhoods. Boys were study specifically because they were from some most and a disadvantage in a Boston of 1930s. Most lived in 10-minute many without hot and cold running water. When they entered the study, all of these teenagers were interviewed. They were given medical exams. We went to their homes and they interviewed their parents. And then these teenagers grow up who all walks of life. They become they become factory workers and lawyers and bricklayers and doctors. One president of the United States. Some developed alcoholism. A few developed sovereignty. Some climbed the social ladder from the bottom all the way to very top, and some made that journey in opposite direction. The founders of this study would never in their wildest dreams have imagined that I would be standing here today, 75 years later, telling you that the study still continues. Every 2 years, our patient and dedicated calls up our men and asks them if we can send them yet one more set of question. Many of the inner city Boston men asked us, why do you keep wanting to study me? My life just isn't the destiny. Harvard men never ask the question. To get the clearest picture of these lives, we don't just send them questionnaires. We interview them in their living words. We get their medical record from their doctors. We draw their blood. We scan their brains. We talk their children. We videotape them talking with their wives about their deepest concerns. And when about the decade ago, we finally asked the wives if they would join us as members of study. Many of the women said, it's about time. So what have we learned? What are the lessons that come from the tens of thousands of information that we've generated on these lives? Well, the lessons aren't about wealth and or fame or working harder, and the clearest message that we get from this 75 years study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Period. We've learned three big lessons about relationships. The first is that social connections are really good for us, and that loneliness kids. It turns out that people who are more socially to family, to friends, to community are happier, they're physically healthier, and their life longer than people who are less well connected. and the experience of loneliness turns people are more uh, than isolated than they want to be from others. Find that they're less happy. Their health declines earlier in midlife. Their brain functioning and they live shorter lives and than people who are not lonely. And the sad fact is that at any fact, more than on 5 Americans will report that they're lonely. And we know that you can be lonely in crowd, you can be lonely in a marriage. So the second big lesson is just not number of friends you have, and is not whether of or not you're in committed relationship, but it's quality of your close relationship that matters. It it turns out of their living in midst of conflict is really high conflict marriages, for example, without much affection, turn out to be very bad for our health, perhaps worse than getting and living in the middle of good warm relationship is protective. Once we had followed our men all the way into 80s, we wanted to look back at them midlife and to see if we got perfect who was going to grow into a happy, healthy, or genuine, or whose